big show this week. It's always a big show. Welcome to
Big
Fans of
show.
Patrol. That's right. My name is Montego, host of Fans of Patrol. With me is my wonderful dynamite co-host, Miss Tifflebot. What's going on with you, Tiff? Coming from Iowa.
Coming in hot from Iowa, from the heart of the heartland, as they say.
Yeah. Does anyone ever come in cold? I don't know.
Oh fuck yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I would say a lot of times I come in a little cold, it'll warm me up, and then I'm just blazing, raging fire.
Yeah.
So but like sometimes little bit icy.
Yeah. So, but we're good this week, man. So we got a pretty good show, man. So we literally got something that we have been waiting for.
Yeah.
Yeah. We saw a trailer for what is this? The Witcher Blood
Red,
Origin
yes.
or Blood Origin, The Witcher, one of the
Yeah. But we got excited because we love Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah, and we was like,
As
oh,
everybody does. Everybody does.
and we enjoyed The Witcher, so we were like,
Yeah.
you know,
I didn't watch the second season.
well, okay, so it's like this with that.
Mm-hmm.
So the nerdy of the nerd fans are like, this is bullshit.
Oh, the
Casual,
second season?
yeah, casual people like me was like, it wasn't good as the first one, but I still enjoyed it. And
For
then
me, I think I'd probably just enjoy it because I don't know that much about it.
I don't know that much about it either, so
Excuse
it
me.
doesn't affect me. I don't know how good could be. That's what like the nerdy fans would be like. It's so much better. So I dug it, but it wasn't as good as the first. That is for sure. And so now we got this, and people hate the showrunner. Yeah, who the lady who does this stuff. So
Yeah.
it's become polarizing. So we'll just have to see. So we're
Yeah.
gonna do that, man. We also got some Nick Cage news, as we
Oh
always
yeah.
on the show.
We should just call it Fans on Patrol. We hope it's Nick Cage news. That should be the subtitle of Fans on Patrol.
We hope it's Nick
We
Cage.
hope it's Nick Cage news.
I need to make a thing, like anytime he comes on, he has a little.
He did. We used to have I thought we had the Nick Cage noise.
We had a noise, but I'm talking about for the video, the whole shebang.
Oh, sure.
I gotta.
It's like little Nick Cage's faces like
Right.
rolling in and stuff.
Right. If I'm not lazy, I'm gonna figure out a way.
Just put some stuff in there.
We'll see.
Raining Nick Cages.
Right. So, man, also, Blumhouse always delivers for Tiff. She.
It doesn't. It
Well,
doesn't always deliver for me. I think it has the thing about Blumhouse is
yeah.
that there's like A24, Blumhouse. My A24 is like elevated, but like
Yeah.
there's a couple places that just do a lot of the horror that you see.
Yeah.
And Blumhouse I would say sometimes unfortunately is one of them that because there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and then it seems like they almost done everything already. So
Yeah.
what are you gonna do? So you pay attention to it. You're like, I dig this, or I don't dig this, or this was original, or this sucked.
Or sometimes you're like, this should be good, and
But
it's
it
just
wasn't.
not. Like,
Right.
I mean, that's any publishing house. And I also think that horror is a genre that is a particularly kind of a sticky place because
Yeah.
everybody has a different idea of what's scary
Yeah.
or like what good horror is. Because like if you look at like the last year we talked about *Malignant*, and
Yeah.
how when it's just one of those horror, it's a ridiculous horror movie, and that is certainly for certain people. That's
Yeah.
that's like their fucking jam.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But some people would watch that and be like, "This is garbage."
Yeah. It's a new something
So
I saw on.
it's a difficult place to be.
Yeah, I saw something new on streaming. It was called "Pray for the Devil." Didn't like the name, but it looks scary. But
Oh, that name sounds rad.
see, I don't like all that devil stuff.
I know. I do. Okay, I don't want to gunk up this intro with all this shit from the past, but I do remember that Montego really disliked reading the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina comics, and I will say it's because I think the
Whoa.
one that we had him read was extremely bad. I feel.
Yeah. I remember. God damn, you know what? I almost forgot we used to do comic books on the show. Goodness.
We should bring that back as one of the rotating middle sections.
I would like to know if anybody wants us to bring that back for one of the rotating.
Fuck them, I guess. You know what? I just
So, we are gonna do Price of Tomatoes.
Epic Quest,
Yeah.
Epic Quest edition.
Big Quest. We're
We're gonna do the big quests. No
Right.
little quests here, only big ones.
right. So Price of Tomatoes, y'all know that's the same. Rotten Tomatoes. I think I'm gonna make us do audience score again. That was fun the last time we
Oh,
did.
that's a little more difficult for
Yeah,
me.
oh, it's
It's a
difficult.
surprise for you too, though, because you're like, oh, people love this movie, and then it's like 17%.
God damn,
Yeah.
Anyway, man. So then we'll do the blood origin thing, and that'll take us home for the day.
Mm-hmm.
So, saying the goodies and the moonies. Are you ready to roll?
Oh yeah.
Let's go. All right, man. We're back. It's time for social media. Tiff, where can the people reach us all over the world?
Okay, for everything Phantom Patrol, you can get to us on our socials, which is at Phantom Patrol on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can check out our TikTok, which I can never remember, Phantom Patrol 0. Check out our YouTube, and then listen on your favorite listening platform, please.
Indeed, man. Indeed. So, where are we here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's time for the news, though.
It's time for the news.
Yeah. So the first thing up to bat was something that I haven't been like super duper internet person. This plus the internet is getting like Facebook. Oh my God. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm dating myself. It's nothing but ad after ad. I'm like,
It's no.
what is this? Why do I have this? And then Instagram, all this shit is turning the same shit.
There's no place to go for like just sharing, honestly, genuinely sharing things that you create, because everything is just a garbage ad. And I'm not saying, I mean, I guess to some people, if we were in the feed, it would be not something they didn't want to see. I'm just saying that like it used to be easier, I feel, to like find a place.
I would prefer to see shit like this.
Yeah, somebody's actual
to see this corporate stuff
in the stuff that they try to make it seem like it's not corporate.
Try to make it seem like it's not corporate.
When they're like, "Oh, I love juice," and you're like, "No, you don't." It's like that green juice shit that everyone's trying to sell all the time. Like, get out of here.
Yeah. So it's very difficult. It's not even my go-to anymore to like look at.
None of it's good. I don't like a single platform.
I would agree with you. So
people are like, "Oh, TikTok," and I'm like, that is just too much for me.
Yeah. So anyway, man.
Anyway, now that you know all of our opinions about where you can find us on social media, let's talk about some stuff.
Yeah, but you have to go look for us on any of those platforms. It's not like we're gonna pop up in your feed like back in the day. I would have people say, "Yeah, I saw your stuff come up." I was like, "Oh, that's good." Now it's like, "Shit."
I haven't seen you ever.
Right. And I subscribe to you, and I still don't.
Oh, that's the thing. I do follow people, like friends and stuff, and their stuff just doesn't come up
ever. So anyway, man. Enough complaints. So what are we talking about? Renfield.
Renfield.
These are your notes, Tiff. Why don't you?
They sure are. Okay, so as Montego knows, I brought up Renfield a while ago. I think it was late last year, early, like maybe mid-fall. I got really excited because there's this movie where our favorite, Phantom Patrol favorite, Nick Cage plays Dracula.
And I got to say, Tiff, just to interrupt you really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
There's two Nicholases, right?
Oh, Nicholas Hoult.
Right. Who
I love him too.
Right.
I do love him too. He's an excellent actor. We didn't like him in the menu, but we didn't like him. He's great as the character. He's a very good actor. I have not seen anything that he's been in that I like. I might not have liked the movie per se. There's movies that he's been in that I'm like, but I've always liked him in them. I think he's very good.
Yeah, I remember. I think the most garbage thing he ever did was that Jack and the Beanstalk movie. I was like,
oh my God. Oh yeah.
This one.
You remember that Warm Bodies movie? I even kind of liked that movie. But he's like a zombie, but he can think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I like him. I think he's very charming, and in this, super charming.
He is.
And then Awkwafina's in it, who we like as well.
I didn't even when I first saw him, I said, "Is that it?"
Yeah, because he's got that kind of like pasty makeup on. Right. It's really weird because he is a young man. I think he's in his late 20s, early 30s.
Is he UK-ish, British?
Yes, he's British. He's British.
I never knew. He
does a great American accent, and I always feel like that's kind of. I know this is like really silly way to be like, oh, I think they're great because your accent work is, I think, important. If you're an American going British, if you're British going American, if you're doing, some other accents that people do.
It makes me wonder though, how hard is it to do an American accent?
But I've heard people do bad ones.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can just kind of hear the Britishness in their voice.
Okay.
I'm not sure I don't know how easy it is to do an American accent because I have one.
Right. I mean, but some accents are harder than other ones.
Well, like I think also that like when you're at a party,
Yeah.
I would assume that if you're you just do or like hanging out with friends and somehow somebody does like a British voice as a
Yeah.
joke or a reference to something, I'm assuming that that happens in other countries as well, them making fun of Americans. I would assume that happens 100%.
Yeah.
But I would assume that like just like to yourself when you do a British accent, you think, well, that's not bad, right? But if other people heard it, they'd be like, that is the worst thing I have ever heard.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, man, this Renfield thing. Let's take us through this thing.
Okay, so this trailer features heavily kind of like an exposition trailer. He's in the support group for narcissists. Like that they work for narcissists or they're engaged in some way with a narcissist. Um, and he looks like if he eats these spiders,
Yeah, he gets these super.
he gets power.
Right. 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 Right.
But he has to serve Renfield to get them. Or I mean, he has to serve Dracula to get them. And honestly, so you're watching this trailer. There's a lot of really great action. It looks good.
I'm gonna tell you what I like about the trailer the most. I
Yeah.
like how they waited so long to show Nick Cage.
I was gonna kind of thought that they might not even do it.
Yeah, I didn't think so either, but which I think they could have. It was enough without.
Yeah.
You could have
Yeah.
just showed his
They
hand.
could have showed his feet
Yeah.
walking in and heard his voice. You
Yeah.
would have known it was him. Like
Yeah, of course.
he's got his his voice. So
I don't
but
know
I was
why.
okay with it.
I don't know why I root for Nick Cage so much. Like like he didn't have already a great life, but every time
Yeah.
like
I think it's
I
just
root for him.
because he just seems like he's just him. Do you know what I mean? Like he's in some ways very authentic.
Yeah, that's true.
So you're like, oh, you're kind of drawn to that. But this movie, I like the color scheme of it. I like the kind of like,
Yeah.
I can tell it's going to be goofy. I mean, it's obviously intended to be goofy.
I literally enjoyed this trailer like it was a movie.
Yeah.
I was watching it and I felt a smile come on my face when I was watching it. I was like, oh God. And it comes out in April, which is something like, I'm like, hey, we ain't doing that shit no more. Y'all bring them in. Bring them in. We don't
Here's a trailer. Here's the movie.
Exactly.
Because they don't want you to forget. And I don't want to forget. But I also like that one of my kind of, I guess it's maybe a trope, I'm not sure, but like there's always kind of that like there's the master kind of Dracula person and then the long suffering servant, kind of like Igor.
Kind of like Guillermo.
yeah, Guillermo. Yeah. So like I like the dynamic of like kind of a ridiculous but powerful person, and they're kind of just like, oh my God, like assistant, because like I think that dynamic is just a hyperbole of like people's real life situations where like you have a boss, right? And your boss is not always great. And you're just like, Jesus Christ, I'm not gonna get through one more day. And this is just like that times 100 to a degree that's like, goofy.
This looks super great, and I'm very excited for it. And I haven't been excited the last movie I was excited for was Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Really? I thought you were pretty excited for Glass Onion for a minute.
Yeah, but then like they went up, down, around, and everywhere else, and it's been on Netflix. And so no, I am excited for it, but I mean, I'm really excited. Like,
so yeah, you're like, I want to get to the theater to watch this.
Exactly.
Like you're like Montego doesn't like the theater, so if he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna get in there.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't even like excited like that, for like Wakanda Forever and that, I mean, it's coming and you're like, oh, that's cool. But like, yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once, I was like, oh, I'm really excited for this. And that's how I am for this. I'm really excited to see this. So there we go. So good stuff, man. Good stuff. At least good trailer. Let's put it down.
Yeah, that's the thing. You never know. Also, you can see in this trailer that if they don't do it exactly right, that it could end up being a mess. But I get from the trailer that that's probably not going to be.
Well, fortunately, Nick Cage's last thing I saw, I love. Well, he did.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Oh my God, so good, so good. I mean, really, really good. I enjoy that movie.
Yeah, that's a good movie,
and that's rewatchable. And then I even heard the movie he did, Pig, was supposed to be like.
I heard that was I heard that was super good.
Yeah,
but like violent. If it's violent movie.
Yeah.
But I like that. So
speaking of violent,
yeah,
over the Christmas break, over the holiday, I think it was New Year's Day. I watched. Didn't intend upon watching it. I watched what's the Keanu Reeves killing everybody movie?
John Wick.
Yeah, I watched 1, 2, and 3. And
Woo!
not deliberately, it was just like that was good. Let's
I'll
watch
do it. I'll have
it.
another.
Exactly. And then I got to Parabellum, and I was like, I remember that it was like the least of my favorite, and like it started getting repetitive to me. So I had that complaint with the run kill, run kill.
Mm.
The second watch, it did not have that repetitiveness to
You
me.
kind of felt like you were
I
coming
felt
back.
completely different about this time. I was like, this was a lot better than I gave it credit for. Even on the show, a lot better. I enjoy. It's definitely worth the rewatch. So
I do think that sometimes movies like that suffer not only from whatever, but and I know that people know this, but like it's not that it's not good on its own, but like you remember, it's like, but it's so hard to be as good as the original good thing, even if the second thing is good. Do you know what I
well,
mean? It does happen, and sometimes the second thing is better. It's just that like it's so hard to like line
well,
up right on the exact taste line.
well, the best thing to do and the best way, if the I don't know if I want to give the filmmakers credit for this, or
Hmm.
if it was, or is it just you as a your growth as being a movie watcher, is that uh things like that is a journey. Maybe it didn't start out to be a journey, but it turns into a journey. And then once you look at the situation and you say, "Oh, this is a journey," it goes, and that
Hmm.
journey is complete, and it feels better. It's just like Star Wars. Like,
Maybe you liked it because you watched them in succession very quickly.
yeah,
Maybe you like
maybe
got it a little bit
I liked
better.
it so much better. But it's just like Star Wars. Like the first three movies, you got people who are younger, they love those movies. People, the older fans hate them. But then once you look at the whole total work, then it turns into something different. It's
This
like,
is so difficult because I hear you saying the first three,
yeah, yeah.
and I know what you mean is the later ones, but they're episodes one, two, and
I'm talking about the
three.
number of episodes, one, two, and
Right, right. But
three.
very confusing for those of us who are,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I mean, not, I obviously I know,
yeah.
but I feel like, and probably everyone listening to this show knows as well, but it is kind of like a weird mental exercise to be like, oh, the first three, not the first three.
Yeah, I still don't care that much for the last two. So there we go. I like the Force Awakens. Anyway, off of Star Wars. So what else we got up in here?
Oh, okay. So, like you said at the top, Blumhouse just cranking that horror out, crank,
Yeah,
and
low budget horror like a fat rat.
low budget. Which I mean, I love it. I love a low budget horror when done right, or sometimes when done really wrong. So you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a difficult
Like,
situation.
what a shit show, but I
Ooh, that
enjoyed
was
it for some
bad.
reason.
I've never had such a good time feeling
Right,
so bad.
right.
So this is a trailer called Sick. And it's I think I read this article and they were like a little maybe too soon for some folks, but it's a movie about quarantining during the pandemic and then somebody coming to attack you in your
This
quarantine.
is either pretty brave or pretty stupid because
Yeah.
we talk about the pandemic like it's this
Yes.
thing that happened such a long time ago.
It's still
And
happening.
it's well, what I'm saying is, a lot of people lost loved ones during that time.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of
This
like,
is it's a little tasteless,
yeah,
but at the same time, and this is not I don't have that kind of I feel like I can't speak on that, obviously.
mm-hmm.
But it's definitely just a part of our lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's going to be something that's going to be examined in art in a many different ways from
It's iffy though, Tiff. It's just like
from
when 9/11 happened and immediately they came out
oh
with
yeah, do you
movies.
remember that movie and the guy stood up and said too soon?
Nick Cage was in one of those movies. There was two of
I
them.
remember that. He was
Yeah,
like a firefighter.
exactly. And it was like, y'all couldn't wait to try to make some money off of this,
Yeah, see the thing about this is I think
Yeah.
if you it could be good, right?
Yeah.
You watch a trailer and separate from the pandemic aspects of it, seems like a very kind of normal horror
Yeah, yeah.
film, stalking horror
Right.
slashers type stuff.
Exactly.
Um, but I do think that like there is just that, you know what I mean? You have to be careful when creating
It's
this
risky.
stuff. Yeah.
It's risky, yeah, because of the time, yeah, because it ain't been
It
that
doesn't
long.
look bad.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
But like I said, like you said, I'm sorry, where is that line between like it's different it's different making an emotional movie about the pandemic
They're just some
than a horror movie about the
bullshit, right?
pandemic. And yet, I do think horror is a place that we examine trauma the most.
Interesting.
It's just because that is the external realization of the internal feelings that people have. And so I do think that,
Oh, you did broke that down on a level I never even, it's just it's a spook movie to me.
well, I mean, that's
Wow.
the thing, is a kind of, that's, when you get really into like not only elevated horror, but any horror, is just the examination of fear. And a lot of the fears that we examine are from trauma or like whatever we have in our lives. And that's exactly what we're seeing. And so like, I mean, that's taking it to a level where you're like analyzing it deeper than just
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
did I enjoy this or not?
yeah,
And so I do think that there probably, if this isn't it, and I would say that I probably doubt that it is.
yeah.
I don't doubt that there will someday be a horror film that examines the pandemic in a very cathartic way.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
So like I
For
don't know if
sure,
this is it.
for
And
sure.
I do think it's, here's the thing, is we've been in this for 3 years
Yeah,
now. We're on our third year. Um, but that being said, uh when you
and
think about it, part of the problem with those 9/11 movies was that like in order for them to have been released when they were, they had to have like immediately gone.
yeah, they did.
Like from the time that they saw it, they ran.
But referencing that, think about it. Ain't nobody even touched 9/11 since then.
Well,
There's no action movies or nothing like that with like 9/11 being in the background, like as far as like that incident. You know how they
I mean,
do.
I think there might be, but I don't know about
I
them.
haven't seen anything that was
Or
like,
and the more accurately, there's probably things that like it's not 9/11, but it's 9/11.
well, they tore down buildings and movies, but
No,
I'm
no, no. What I mean is that like they are definitely talking about the experience of 9/11,
yeah, yeah,
but not
that
necessarily showing that stuff.
right. What I'm saying is like, we'll take something that happened in real life, like Pearl Harbor. And we'll
Hmm.
make a shitty movie that's supposed to be about that thing that happened, but really it's a bunch of things that happen around what happened at Pearl Harbor, you know.
Right. They're making the shot like it's kind of
But
like
it's
there's
not a historical piece. It's some action garbage, like the movie Pearl Harbor with Ben
right,
Affleck. It was
as
horrible.
opposed to like Saving Private Ryan,
Right.
which while being a big blockbuster film is very difficult to watch.
And took it very seriously because the
Right.
subject matter was taken seriously. Although Pearl Harbor, I mean, it was about a dumb love triangle about some people you didn't care about. It's just
Right. And that's just,
ah,
I mean, that's the kind of stuff that you're like, it's glamorizing of it
yes.
in a lot of ways. And then you're like, oh, that feels kind of icky.
But going back to this movie, Sick, it is something like that I think I could watch. I mean, I'm not like, so I would like to
I
see what
think
they're
it's
gonna do with
definitely
it.
maybe just if it's just part of it. Do you know what I mean? Like clearly that's part of life that has happened.
Well,
So I
the
can
way
see
they
that,
set it
but
up too, Tiff. I
they
mean,
make it seem like it's sick, but also is it sick like this person is sick?
it's Camp Crystal Lake. They
Oh,
get up and they
100%.
go and they're isolated out and
In a very, very big cabin.
yeah, 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 huge. Probably got and then nobody was traveling during that time, so they probably got it, like
Yeah, $5.
$2,000 a night room for like $100 for the whole
Yeah,
week.
they're like, just take it.
Right,
Just please.
exactly.
Um, but then like somebody else shows up, which that's kind of like a very Hallmark version, like
Looks like
not
an
Hallmark, but like
ex-boyfriend,
yeah, like
unknown
that's
boyfriend.
the introduction of the unknown, of the surprise character is
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
common in a horror film. And then of course, while that's happening, there's the introduction of the killer
Yeah, they see the food.
using that switch as the back. So I mean, it seems in some ways very basic, right? It's a formulaic horror film.
I like when shit like that, unwanted guests dressed in black and in the background. I like it when
Hmm.
they get their comeuppance fast. You know,
Oh, sure.
I can't stand when we go the whole movie and it's just menacing thing. It's just like put 6 hot ones in them. Put 6 hot ones in them.
Not
Pucka,
everybody
pucka,
has
pucka,
a gun
pucka.
like Jesus
Put
Christ.
6 hot ones in them.
There is always that point in the horror film where like you're like, well, this could have ended. But I think about horror films a lot when
Right.
especially when I'm by myself. And there's always that scene in the horror movie where like, because you are watching it and you have experienced the anxiety of knowing that like that noise isn't safe,
Right, right,
that
right,
you're
right.
like, why the fuck would you go downstairs? But when I hear a noise in my house, in my basement, I go downstairs. I
I
don't just, imagine if every time you heard a noise in your house, you just ran from the house.
no, 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 no.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's just
Absolutely, absolutely.
so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just yeah.
I would give this a try. I don't know. I mean, the reviews from the critics on the trailer seem to be positive, but I don't know if they're thinking about it in quite the same way.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that in that way until you said something. Then I'm like, yeah, goddamn, I didn't even think about it that way. It had, yeah, a lot of people lost a lot of loved ones, man.
And it hasn't been that long. I don't know how long is long enough, or if it's ever long enough.
Again, you haven't seen any big plans to do anything concerning with 9/11 in the background. People just stay away from that shit, So
yeah,
Anyway, man. So good conversation, Tiff. Good conversation.
Yep.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a break-a-roni, and we're gonna be right back with what are we
Price of Tomatoes.
Price of
Tomatoes. Epic Quest.
Epic Quest. We'll be right back.
True time.